back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. There will never be another Jerry Rice. Let's check this
57
out.
players have crossed 10,000 receiving yards. At the top, Jerry Rice. So far ahead, the gap between him and number 2 is a...
I mean that, bro. Look at this
Jerry
fucking
Rice.
gap.
So far,
22,000. The second most is 17,000. God damn, you got T.O. 15,000, 15,000 for Randy Moss. Tony Gonzalez, bro. Hey, people want to say Travis Kelce the best, Chiefs tight end of all time. You must not have watched Tony Gonzalez play. Like, I know Kelce got the rings, but if we talking about like pure talent, bro, I'm going Tony Gonzalez every day.
Far ahead, the gap between him and number 2 is a full Hall of Fame career. Even if you averaged 1,500 yards for 15 straight seasons, you'd still fall short of catching Rice. This isn't just dominance. These are records that will never be broken. What you saying, guys? It's Zane here. Let's get into the video. Given Rice retired with 38 records, to ensure this video isn't 3 hours long, I'm just looking at receiving yards and
38
touchdowns.
records is
impressive
crazy.
Enough on their own. Here are those 57 players that have surpassed 10,000 receiving yards. As we ascend the list, you'll see it's pretty evenly spread. But here we have an outlier, Larry Fitzgerald. And then there's Jerry Rice. How is Fitzgerald not in the Hall of Fame yet? Are as secure as Fort Knox. It's not just that Rice holds countless receiving records, it's the margins by which he leads. Fitzgerald is closer in yards to the 29th ranked receiver than he is to Rice. The gap between 1 and 2 is larger than the gap between 1 and 26. If you look at passing yards or rushing yards for comparison, the gap between 1 and 2 is nowhere near as wide as it is with receiving yards. The 5,400 yards between Rice and Fitzgerald almost equals the career total of Hall of Fame receiver Lynn Swann. His 208 total touchdowns and 197 receiving touchdowns.
Do y'all think anybody ever breaks his records?
List also includes running backs.
I ain't gonna lie, if you gonna break his record, bro, you gotta play for a long ass time, bro. Like, real shit. And it's already incredibly hard to stay healthy nowadays, bro. But to play to like what he retired when he was like in his 40s, right? Bro, you gonna have to play for a very long time. But if there's anybody I feel like that can break his record, it's either gonna be Jettis or Jamar Chase, one of those two. But I really don't see that happening.
Players on this
unless you know what I'm saying, they play for a very long time.
Average touchdown a season. That was 16.2 touchdowns per year, but he only actually hit 16 plus touchdowns in 3 seasons. So the average is skewed by a few monster years. It's not realistic year in, year out production. Among receivers, Don Hutson ranks first with 15.4 touchdowns a season. He would need nearly 13 years at that pace to pass Rice in receiving touchdowns. In either position, maintaining this production for a decade and a half is near impossible. Rice's most impressive touchdown season came in 1987, when he racked up 22 in a 12-game strike-shortened season.
Nigga, what? Hold up, go back.
Possible. Rice's most impressive touchdown season came in 1987, when he racked up 22 in a 12-game strike.
22 tuds in 12 games?
Shortened season.
Damn.
Randy Moss would beat that record in 2007, but that was in a 16-game season. Jerry Rice was on pace for 29 touchdowns in a full season. Now let's put his receiving yard total in perspective. Calvin Johnson has the highest yards per game with at least 100
Not surprised, bro.
His 86 yards per game equals 1,463 yards in a 17-game season. To match Rice's record, you'd have to average that for 15 years. Johnson himself only had 3 1,400-yard seasons and played just 9 years. The most 1,400-yard seasons was by Jerry Rice, with 6. Of active players, you have Justin Jefferson with 4 1,400-yard seasons, so just another decade of the same production and we'll be all set. Of course, the reality is, such high production is not sustainable. The only way to beat Rice's record is through a high volume of games while being productive, just not 1,400 yards a season productive, because obviously your numbers will decline as you get older. However, there's only 4 receivers to ever play at least 250 games. Rice is of course number 1 in NFL history, excluding kickers, punters, and quarterbacks. If you manage to even play 250 games, which is basically 0.1% chance, then that still means you have to average 91.6 yards per game to overtake Rice. That would be the highest average in NFL history, and it would need to be sustained for twice as long as the current record holder, Calvin Johnson, who maintained his average for 9 years. What's even crazier is that Rice tore his ACL and MCL in 1997, when he was 35. He actually returned later the same season, but in doing so,
what? Hold up. He did what now and came back?
Even crazier is that Rice tore his ACL and MCL in 1997, when he was 35. He actually returned...
Bro, tearing your ACL and MCL is already crazy enough. But to do that at 35 years old and come back the same season is
to the
crazy.
same season, but in doing so, he re-injured himself. He
Yeah, I'm not
returned the next
surprised, nigga.
season, finished with
He came back way too early.
1,157 yards, which would be the most ever
He
by a
had to have
player
been
aged
shooting up. There's
36
there's
or
no
older.
way.
Then at 38, already one of the oldest receivers ever, he left the 49ers and his career should have been over. Yet he played 4 more years, had two 1,000-yard
Bro, playing
seasons,
till
a Pro Bowl
42
nod,
is
and a Super
crazy,
Bowl
bro.
appearance. From age 38 until his retirement at 42, he amassed more receiving yards than every other player in NFL history combined. In
Yeah,
fairness,
bro was
there aren't many
different.
people on this list.
And he had
Rice
two Hall
essentially
of Fame
created a new
quarterbacks throwing him
category
the
of
ball too
productivity at his position, much
in
like
San
Brady did
Fran.
at quarterback. Speaking of Brady, Brett Favre, and Rice, all these guys have one thing in common. The only players to catch a pass in their 40s. Except Favre caught his own pass for -2 yards, Brady caught one pass for 6 yards, and Rice had 185 receptions for 2,500 yards. If somebody wants to challenge Rice, they're going to have to play into their 40s, but no other receiver has done that. He was the model of consistency, with 14 1,000-yard seasons, 11 1,200-yard seasons, 6 1,400-yard seasons, and 5 15-touchdown seasons. Of course,
Damn.
those are all records. I haven't even mentioned his postseason resume, which includes most receiving yards, most receiving touchdowns, most receiving yards in a Super Bowl, and most points scored in a Super Bowl. That list goes on. So that's an
48.
insight into Rice's career by the numbers. But what actually made him so good, aside from his longevity? Steve Young
Hold up,
tells
go
it best
back.
by the numbers. But what actually made him so good, aside from
Nigga, who the fuck was his barber, gang? Like, hey, his barber got it, bro. Gotta be stoned for this, bro. Like, what the fuck? Gave him that Stephen A. Smith special, man. God damn. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Me and my barber would have had to fight if I had this shit. I'm not gonna lie.
from his longevity? Steve Young tells it best. After coming to clear out his
No
locker a
wonder
few
bro
weeks
went
after winning
bald.
the Super Bowl in 1995, Young saw Rice running sprints and catching passes from the groundskeeper. You belittle his drive by saying he had just a great work ethic. Most people have an off switch, and they choose when to go all out. Jerry Rice didn't have an off switch. Rice didn't stop once the season came to an end. His off-season workouts were notoriously challenging. We're talking 6 days a week, full intensity. It started at the Hill in Edgewood Park with a 5-mile run, which included sprints up the steepest part. In the afternoon he'd rest with an
Shit was
intense weight
recorded with a
training session.
potato.
His workouts became mythic. With other NFL players, he'd rest with an intense weight training session.
Hey, bruh, nah, this looks crazy. This look crazy out of context, bro.
Workouts became mythic, with other NFL players joining him just to see what it was like. Many of these
AJ
pro
Brown.
athletes were sick before the day was over. This intensity carried over into team practices. Instead of jogging back to the huddle, he'd sprint to the end zone after every catch. You're training for the real game, right? So why not simulate how you'd actually play in it? Such intensity developed unmatched conditioning. While Rice was fresh in the fourth quarter, those guarding him were gassed from chasing him around the field.
Damn.
However, coming out of college, his 4.6
Yo.
40-yard time was anything but impressive, especially for scouts who drool over physicals. But these experts were missing something. As 49ers general manager John McVay said, to get an accurate 40 time on Jerry, you'd have to have somebody chasing him. Nobody could catch him in those situations. Accurate 40 time on Jerry, you'd have to...
Oh my nigga. He had 3 defenders around him. Split 2 of them and took that bit to the
Nobody
crib.
can catch him in those situations. What
That's
Rice
tough.
lacked in speed, he made up for with other defining qualities of a great receiver. According to former corner Ray Buchanan, he ran every route available to perfection and ran them all the same,
Oh my
so it was almost impossible to stop. While most receivers are best at a particular route, Rice did it all. A 5-yard slant taken for a 70-yard touchdown, over the middle, sideline grabs, double team, triple team, the deep route. He was even a capable blocker. Those surgically precise routes were on display against even the best. Take Deion Sanders. Rice compiled 60 receptions for over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns against him. Over a 17-game season, that would be 102 receptions for over 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns. That would rank as his second best season ever.
Route
And that's
running
against,
is a work of
one of the
art,
greatest
man.
corners ever. Work ethic, precision, routes, physical toughness, awareness, that hunger. Jerry stayed hungry until the day he retired. But despite being the greatest receiver ever, he wasn't always sure-handed. Kind of important at his position, right? This weakness, once again, simply highlighted Rice's work ethic. Through training and maybe some extra help. Starting his rookie year in week 14, Rice kickstarted a streak of 274 games with a catch. He once said, "I never caught a football because I saw it, I caught it because I saw it before." He would put in so many reps, making the catch became like muscle memory. Everything Jerry Rice excelled at came back to his unmatched work ethic. However, you'd think with today's rules that favor receivers even more than in Rice's era, somebody would be on pace to catch him. Yet nobody can escape the reality of father time, so Rice's records seem untouchable. As a quick comparison, what would the other top receivers have to have done to reach Rice? Randy Moss retired with 982 catches for over 1,500 yards and 156 touchdowns. He would need 4 more seasons at his career average to catch Rice's touchdown record, and just over 6 seasons to beat the yardage record. Terrell Owens retired with over 1,000 catches for almost 16,000 yards and 153 touchdowns. He did have more success in his late 30s, even posting 983 yards at 37 in his final season. Rice at 37 though was still going strong and had 2 more 1,000 yard seasons after that. Owens would need 6 more seasons at his career average to catch Rice in yards and 4 more to catch him in touchdowns. Larry Fitzgerald got the closest in receiving yards, but at his career average, it would take him 6 more seasons to catch Rice, and he wasn't even close to the touchdown record.
Like, real
this
spill
is
though,
also me being generous.
How is he not in the Hall of Fame yet? Because he retired in, 2020, right? He should be inducted into the Hall of Fame now, because I think you got to wait 4 years. So next year, bro, he better be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like, real spill.
Assuming they could all maintain their career average.
There's no way he does.
Production sharply drops off when you get into your
mid-30s.
First
ballot,
well,
easy.
Unless you're Jerry Rice. Modern examples, like Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, and Antonio Brown, all had explosive starts to their career, but flamed out before they could even reach 35. Even the most recent example, Justin Jefferson, who has so far averaged over 1,600 yards a season. He'd have to maintain this for another 9 years to overtake Rice, but Jefferson already missed half a season in his 3rd year. Jerry Rice didn't miss his first game due to injury until 12 years into his career. It's incredibly hard to stay healthy and sustain the production for over a decade. Pro Football Reference did this.
That's a big part of it. That's a big part of it, but you also got to look at, the quarterback perspective, though. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a consistent quarterback throwing you the ball. If you don't have that, then you can't really, get 1,000 yards. So better hope JJ McCarthy lock in, bro, because if not,
Jerry Rice's career never cracking that, breaking them into odd and even years. The conclusion: with a career split in 2, Rice is still probably Canton bound. There is no receiver you could make the same case for.
Hey man, shit. What do you got? What do you guys think, Don Constable? Do y'all really think that somebody's gonna break Jerry Rice's records one day? I mean, records are made to be broken, but 22,000 yards, bro. 208 total tuds. That's gonna be tough to break. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? You gotta play like how many seasons did he play? Hold on, I'm finna look that up right now, gang. This nigga played 20 seasons. Yeah, ain't nobody breaking that. Nope. Nobody's breaking that, bro. Hell nah. 20 seasons? Fuck that. No. Nobody's ever breaking that, bro. I'm sorry. Like, Jerry Rice, he might definitely go down as the only player that ever cracked 20,000 receiving yards, like, in the history of the sports. Now, I know the league is getting more pass heavy now, but you still got to stay healthy and still have a competent quarterback, you know what I'm saying, to consistently get you the ball. So I don't know about that one, but I want to know what you guys think. Don Constable, y'all let me know what other NFL videos I'm to react to. Without further ado, I'm out.
I'ma make them feel me, make them people when they chow me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broke. But I know I'm chosen, I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.